What's up, GERO 200? All right, so today is March 24th, 2024. It's Sunday. It's a week 11, okay? We don't have that many weeks left, all right? So we have a 16-week semester, and here we are, week 11. We actually have 4 more, I believe. We'll take a look at that. Go Trojans, okay? We're in the throes of the NCAA tournament, and we're kicking butt, which is awesome, all right? Super proud of you guys. Let's go right into this, and we'll see where we're at here. We are going into, so we're going to go over something that's super important, okay? Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a rock star, whether you're a movie actor, whether you're a scientist, physician, I don't care what you end up doing. Let's say you're a money manager, all right? The bottom line is you got to know how to save your money, okay? You got to know how to invest, okay, for the future. Let your money work for you. This is what this is all about, okay? You make some money, and then with a minor amount of risk, you throw it into some investment strategies. You look the other way, and you watch it grow. And some of it you can pull off, okay, and use to do whatever you're doing, buy a house, buy a car, etc. But a big part of it, you need to put it somewhere else, okay? Put it away, look the other way, and have that waiting for you for whatever time it is when you decide you're going to retire. Maybe you can retire at 50, maybe you retire at 65. The traditional one is 66.7 in our country, where you get supposedly the designated amount for retirement, or you can wait till you're 70, and we'll see how that maximizes the amount of Social Security you have. Okay, if you can keep working, that's the bottom line. You just keep working. That's what our government wants. That's what every government in the world wants you to do right now. They don't want you to rely upon, especially those people that haven't invested, to rely upon solely the contribution that the government makes back to you through entitlement programs like Social Security, okay? And there are different variations all around the world. All righty, so that's where we're at. So remember, I had a beard. Look, check it out. This is today's version. All right. So we got all kinds of variability here. It's just a game I'm playing. Next week it'll be even different. Okay. So this is week 11, and then Julie's going to give you 1, 2, 3 lectures about legal aspects of aging. So you have 4 more components to GERO 200, and then you're done. Now, included in that, don't forget, you need to calendar this stuff up, guys. We have some writing assignments. You guys did the first one where you're looking at the dynamics of aging. You looked at fertility rates. You look at the dependency ratio. And, the dependents are, you're the one making money. You have kids that are dependent on you. And then you have older adults that might be dependent on you, okay? And this is true at the society level, okay? Older adults and kids, they're consumers, so that means they need to spend money for needs, services, okay? Gasoline, food, clothes, rent, whatever it is you're spending money on, okay? And it's the people in between that are making the money, okay, that allow those other people to spend, along with the people in the middle that are also spending. All right, it's kind of the economics, and we're going to talk about the government and the gross domestic product in the same kind of way. All right, the gross domestic product of a government is how much money the government has earned, okay, and then how much money is, all right, spent. Is it like how much money do we spend on Social Security, Medicare, and all the other different services that the government supports? All right, very cool. So this lecture piggybacks on the last lecture, and then it all supports what you're going to be doing here in terms of, you see that the second paper, that CT2, April 1, that's right around the corner, okay, so it's a week from tomorrow. You come down here, all right, and where is CT2? That was the first one, okay? You guys did a great job. You looked at life expectancy, okay? And don't forget, you also in this same exercise looked at the dependents, okay? Here, you're going to be financial planners, okay? So this is an example of what it is you need to do, okay? You're going to have 2 scenarios where you're going to invest in your 401ks, and then a second scenario where you're going to invest in an individual retirement account, okay? You're going to also, in your paper, define what the difference between an IRA and a Roth IRA is. We're going to go over that in class today, okay? This depends where you are in terms of your current economic development, meaning where you are in terms of your career. You're not making a lot of money. It's really a good idea to invest in a Roth IRA. Okay, we'll explain that later. Once you start rolling in the dough, making more money, then you set it aside in a traditional IRA. Okay, all righty. This right here is a employer-based retirement plan. 401k is the traditional one for a private company. There can be other agencies, government agencies, not-for-profit agencies like a university, and those are called 403bs. These are just the numbers of the tax codes in the federal tax booklet, okay? And so right here, the same kind of rules are followed whether or not it's a 403b or 401k. Alrighty, so this is how you access it right here. You see right down here, this is the rubric, okay? 2 examples of an IRA. Let's look at the outcomes. So you're gonna have a bunch of figures here, and then the traditional 2 to 4 pages of writing, okay? It's separate, okay? You're gonna be adding these figures so that we can visualize what's going on. So don't forget to put the figures in, okay? Alrighty, says right here, okay, include figures, okay, all right? So you're gonna describe the 2 different outcomes right here in terms of your 2 different investment strategies, okay? Maybe one time you're gonna have matching by your company, maybe one time you're not, okay? All right? Sorry, with the 401k. With the IRAs, again, 2 different strategies, and we'll see how that works out, okay? Explain the difference between an IRA and a Roth IRA, okay? At what point of your life would you be investing in one? Explain the, well, that's my son. He's making all kinds of noises in his sandals. Don't worry about that. This is right here, the explains the limits. So the government wants its money in terms of taxes. So it limits how much you can do, kind of shielding of your money. And so you'll learn about that right there, okay? They're gonna get their taxes one way or another, but they'd rather have the money now than later on, okay? And then you're going to explain the federal limits in terms of 401ks. They're different, okay? They really want companies to get involved, and that's why there's a lot more money involved in here. So these are the scorings that we use when we grade it, and that's when you're excellent, you get 10 points, okay? So do a good job there, all right? There's FAQs right in there, okay? And then the type of figures that you're going to get would be, for example, what we see right here. This is a figure for the I put 410K, 401K. Okay, I'm going to have to fix that. Sorry. But you'll get a printout right here with an explanation of the money. Okay, so here's an example. When you do not have an employer match, how much your money would grow over this, going from 30 years of age to 64, a 34-year period. Okay. And then right here is if you have an employer match, how much more money, okay, can grow, okay? And this is in thousands of dollars. So we're talking, millions over here in terms of how much money you can put away, okay? By not putting that much in. This is the table that you print out when you get into this. And this is how you read that table. So I've kind of highlighted in green and in purple, explaining what's going on right here, okay? This is your principal, and then this is how much it grows. If you consider about a 7% return on your investments by investing in the stock market, how you do it in bundles called equities, okay? And there's different types. There's index funds, mutual funds. This is where there's large categories, thousands of companies under one category that you invest in, rather than investing in individual stocks, okay? Alrighty, guys. And this explains things a little bit more down here, okay? This is, the scenario where we're looking at my 401k when you're getting company matches, okay? And again, the compounding goes there, and the numbers are enormous, okay? You look at your total contribution, okay? All right there, and then how much it grows to right there. So you can see it's not a bad gig, all right? All right, so that's an enormous amount of growth right there, okay? All right, so that's the kind of stuff you're gonna do, okay? I have right here a PDF file right here. Click on that sucker, okay? Bring it into play here. All right, it's page by page, okay? So this is not working right here, but you just go down. Explains to you what the goals of this is all about, learning about investing, okay? These are the 2 types of strategies. So you can have 2 examples of an IRA, 2 examples of a 401k, and then you're going to also at some point in your paper define what an IRA versus a Roth IRA is. Okay, you scroll down here. There's the rubric once again. Okay, this tells you, how you're going to get in here and use the calculators. Okay, so there's all kinds of really cool tools. And by the way, if you guys are talking to people from prior semesters, this is all different, and so you really got to get in there and do this on your own. Okay, and it's a much more accurate way of doing things. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so this is step by step right here. Okay, shows you the calculator, and then when you're all done, you click on View Report, depending on what you put in, and then you get a readout. Okay, so this is the readout right here. Okay, so we get the bar graph description. So you grab that as a screensaver. Right here, this is a click down menu. Okay, I want to have in my scenario have a employer match. Okay, you got to list all these right here. You have to think about it. It's listed in here as too graphically. You change them. So my employer match is 100% for every. So let's say I can put 5% of my salary in my 401k, and then my employer matches that with another 5%. Okay, it's not taxable, so you got to go after it. You leave that money on the table. Okay, alrighty. So again, this explains everything in terms of that graph, what it means with employer match, without employer match. You see that you're almost $1.5 million greater when you do that. Okay, alrighty. And then this is again looking at the when you do the printout. Okay, if we scroll back here, view report. Okay, you get the graphs. You also get the tables that explain everything. And I've kind of highlighted over here green what each column means. Okay, so this is your actual investments. Boom. Okay. Now I'm looking at a 7% return on my investment, and this is how much I'm gonna get right here. Go a little further down. Okay, now I got an employer match. Still, this is my investment. It's the same amount of money. Okay, right here. But now my employer is matching 1-to-1, so you can double that. Okay, and you can see the principal is this much, and you see with a 7% return on the investment, we're looking at 2.7 million. Okay, so without an employer match, 1.3, and this is 2.7. And we're going to go over the limits. There are limits at what you can do. Okay, so you can even do an employer match of 2-to-1. Okay, every 5% I put in, my employer puts in 10%. It's up to you. Okay, you see right here, we have that scenario. Boom! That's a lot of money. Okay, just by putting in the maximum limits that we can put in. Okay, not a bad deal, right? All right, so that's what that's all about. Okay, then we can look here. I'm kind of curious. All right, I said in here my annual salary. What my annual salary increase? That would be a killer job making every year. I got a 5.2% bump. Okay, so you go over here to this calculator right over here, and it shows you how much you can predict you're going to earn with a 5.2% bump. Okay, so this is 5.2%. This is being more reasonable with a 3% raise annually, and you can see that if you start making 100 grand a year, by the end of 35 years, you'll be making close to 3. Okay, if we had that 5.2%, you'd be making this much money right here. All right, everything's compounded, so you think about that. Okay, all right, so these are some rules now that you can think that are limited in your 401ks. Okay, you go through that. All right, if you have any questions in the AARP calculator, okay, you hit that question mark and you get this pop up that explains everything. All right, same here. Okay, you can come over here and click on this and get an indication what it all means right here. So I hit the question mark, and this is what pops up, and then when I hit X, it'll disappear. All right, awesome. Then you do the IRAs, same drill. This is an IRA calculator right here. Okay, you don't get quite the graphics that we saw in 401k, but it's still pretty cool. All right, this explains everything right here. Okay, and it's with and without taxation. So you can go through all that. Okay, scroll here. Okay, there you go. So this is the traditional IRA versus just putting your money in a savings account. Okay, pretty lean return on the savings, and you see it goes exponential if you put your money into an IRA, where your expectation might be between a 5 and 7% return. Now there are limits right here. We're going to go over that when we get into it. You can't put as much money into an IRA as you can into your 401k. When you're filling this stuff out, okay, again, view report, you click on that and it's going to give you the graphics. It's going to also give you the information we see right here. So you're going to get the lowdown over here when you do the view report, okay? Alrighty, this is scenario 1, this is scenario 2, okay? All I did here, I did everything the same, but what I did is after the age of 50, you can do what are called catch-ups, where you can invest more. The limit is 6,500. However, you can add $1,000 to that every year, and just by doing that small change, what changes happen in terms of the outcome. All right. So that's a quick lowdown on that. I can go over this again later, but I just wanted to show you the CT number 2. All right, very cool stuff. Let's go now back into our weekly assignments. Bam. Okay, guys, so as we were doing the previous week, okay, I know a lot of you guys are out, doing your spring break and stuff, so it's like, whoa, what's this all about? We're looking at, the economic preparation for retirement, so check out that lecture, guys. We were going over this, and we were looking at some of the situations in terms of the likelihood of people having put money away for that rainy day called retirement, okay? And we're looking at the retirement savings, and this is average, okay, so it's skewed, okay? And then we look at the middle of the road American, we see by age group how much is put away, okay? This looks all good, okay, but do remember that a very, very large percentage of America, approaching 30% at this age group, has nothing, okay? And they're reliant totally on Social Security. And you look at the average Social Security, we're going to figure out this week how this is calculated. That's not a lot of money. Living on, roughly $22,000 a year, it's close to impossible, and that's our dilemma. Okay, so anyways, we go through all this. Okay, we looked at it based on ethnicity, age. We looked at it based on whether or not there's disability. Obviously, if people are disabled, they have a much tougher time. Okay. More demographic information, looking at sex, we're looking at ethnicity, we're looking at age, and then this goes down here, looking at cost. Okay, so you're only making, let's say you only have Social Security, okay, right there, $2,000 a month, and then we're looking at, potentially as you get into this age group, $7,000 a year of that $2,000 a month. So 7 out of the 22,000 is going towards medical care. A big part of it is how much you have to pay for the Medicare insurance policy, and then these are all the out-of-pocket expenses. Okay, all this ultimately is out of pocket. All right, so we go over that more and more, and then we talk about, hey, you know what? Really, this is where you should be, your goals in terms of saving, in terms of retirement, all right? And this was looking at Fidelity. So you guys go open your Fidelity account right now, all right? Open up a Vanguard, Morgan Stanley, whatever your flavor is in terms of a company, and get rolling on that, okay? All right, so that was week 10. Now we're gonna go week 11. It's gonna be, again, a review of this, and then we're gonna talk about strategies, okay? Now, we don't have a financial planner. Okay, we do this all on our own. If you like playing video games on your phone or your computer, you can do this all on your own. Okay, and the big problem is oftentimes we see that we give money to people that we think we can trust, that are our planners, and oftentimes they will cheat you out of your money, called embezzlement. Okay, so we see some issues right now with Shohei and Tani. Way back when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had all his money taken away by a financial planner. So it's not a bad idea to be able to understand what's going on, especially, like I said, if you're going to be making a ton of money someday. All right, let's get into this, okay? Okay, so this video is going to go right in here, okay? And what I encourage you to do, okay, you can look at this CNBC article. It's a very complete article. This is something that you should wrap your head around educating yourself about, okay? It tells you all about becoming a financial planner, okay? It tells you about how you have to educate your clients in terms of setting up a current budget and a projected budget, okay? And how within that budget, you're advising them to take out certain amounts of money. Some might go to your college fund for your children, and others might be going towards accessing these funds after you retire and what the rules are on that. There's lots of different rules. Some types of funds you can actually borrow against it and pay a minor penalty. Some types of funds you have to be aware that if you need to go in there and access it, there is a penalty and tax that will be placed against it. Okay, so alrighty. Like I said, guys, this is the wheelhouse of my business majors. Most of you guys in this class are business majors, okay? Whether or not you like it or not, you have to be savvy to the business world, no matter what your profession is, okay? So we see right here, if we take just a generic view of all of income earning Americans, 1 in 3 have zero money saved for retirement, okay? We can then look across the board, okay, and see what the percentage is. 23% have less than 10K. Think about how much it costs just to pay rent right now, and that's all you have saved, okay? And we see that, who's, the lucky people, okay? Again, saving of 300K is not that much, okay? And only 13% of people have 300,000 saved, okay? All right. Women are much less likely, okay? So we can see here, people that don't have retirement savings, see women are 38% of the population, when men 30, okay? Have saved $300,000 or more, men 16%, women 9. Think 300,000 is not that much, okay? We can now hone this down by generations, okay? And we see, as you would expect, people over the age of 55, these are seniors and boomers, how this plays out, don't have retirement savings, have more than $300,000. So many more people in that age group. Again, we look at, you guys are up here, and we look at the Gen Zers, okay, you're going to be much more likely to not have anything. And then as you go further on in life, you get more and more retirement savings, okay? All right, so, all righty. Now, one of the things that we all rely upon is Social Security. Okay, so this next section is this is the background of how we stack up. Okay, now let's look at what you need to do and think about individually. Okay, all righty. So first things first. Okay, we all are thinking that someday we're going to get Social Security. Okay, and we deserve it. We've put the money into the system. We want to get it back. Okay, how is this figured out? Your Social Security. Okay. Alrighty, so we're looking at this figure below, and it shows you how the benefits are kind of progressive, okay? So we're going to look at how your annual Social Security income, how it is calculated, all right? The way it is calculated, okay, is we're going to look at your average salary over a 35-year period, okay? And once we figure that out, so the more you make, the more your average salary is, okay? Once we figure this out, then it is indexed, okay? Based, or it's adjusted based on your income, okay? So people that are the lower wage earners are going to have a greater percentage of that low wage become their Social Security check every month, their annual Social Security income. It makes sense. People like me, people like former President Trump, people like Elon Musk, okay, they are going to get a smaller percentage, okay, because you have more money from a lot different sources. So that in that way it's a little fair, but there is a certain unfairness to it as well, okay. Alrighty, so that's how we index it, okay. And so we look down here, okay. So you can see the figure below, okay. That earning $142,000 a year, okay, on average over a 35-year period means, okay, you're going to receive a lower percentage of this as your Social Security compared to somebody that made less money, okay. That's the indexing. So we see down here. So you can see this is going to be my Social Security annual income, even though this was my 35-year average. down here, okay, so that right there is, okay, so it says, so that's a little less than 1/4 of what I was making, okay. We see over here, this is approaching half their income. Of course, it's far less. If you're making 20, your maximum, your 25-year average is only 26,000, then you're going to get this much, okay. It's not the same as this, but you know, it's half, okay. So you see how this is indexed in that way, all righty? Very, very cool. Now, when we look at this, okay, another part of the problem, okay, and again, we look at your Social Security income, okay. In this particular example, this is the maximum that you can earn based on your income, okay. This was in 2021. This right now here is in 2024, okay. So this is a point of contention, okay, in terms of the removal of Social Security taxes out of your paycheck, okay, and it's only taken for your first $160,200 a year in both 223 and 224, okay. Now, you know, how is that reasonable if you're Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, okay, your annual income is, I don't know, $700 million a year, and Social Security is only taken out of this, okay? Maybe we should increase the amount that is taken out and then index it even lower, okay? So, you know, maybe they, in the end, they're only going to get 34,000, or as in the case of maximum in 2024, this much, but we take a lot more out. It's only fair. They have so many other assets. What do they care? Okay, so that's a kind of a point of contention. All right. So the average Social Security benefit in 2022, okay, was about 20 grand a year. Okay, that's not going to replace your income. Okay, it's this is what you know, we're looking down here. This is kind of what this is relative to. Alrighty, so you need to do better than that, okay? Alrighty, so that, knowing that, we can look down here again at Social Security, and then we're going to review the assignment. So Social Security is just part of the income you're going to receive when you get older, okay? So one of the best things you can do is just keep working, okay? I'm going to be 68 in June. All right, so I've got a great job. So my plan is I'll probably keep working till about 72 years of age. I max out at 70. I can start drawing my Social Security at 70. Okay, why would I wait till 70? Okay, so the maximum Social Security benefit in 2024, okay, is this amount right here. All right. So the old graph was just from a study that was done, okay, from 2021. Now we're at 2024, okay. So this is 3,800 and some change per month, all right? All righty, so that sounds pretty good, okay? So, and this is again payable to those that had maximal earnings for 35 years, okay? All right, so that benefit then would come to, okay, in 2024, okay, comes out to about almost 46 grand a year in Social Security. All right, so that's really, really great, okay? What the government wants is they encourage us to delay accessing this Social Security benefit, okay? So what are they gonna do, all right? They incrementally, for every month that you delay from this maximum benefit that is allocated for the suggested retirement age of 66.6667 years of age, okay, is every month you delay your retirement all the way up to age 70, they incrementally will increase that benefit since you're starting later, all right? Okay, so I can, by waiting to 70 years of age, okay, and it's not that long, okay, from waiting from almost 67 to 70, okay, years of age, okay, I will increase my Social Security benefit to 32% above what it was 3 years earlier, all right? All right, so that's gonna, so I had my monthly income right here, okay? So now my monthly check will go up, as you see here, $1,000 a month just by waiting 3 years. That's a huge incentive, okay? So my annual Social Security income by waiting 3 years, okay, goes from here to here, all right? So I'm going to be making, as you can see there, roughly, we'll just do the tens of thousand numbers here. We'll go from 45,000 to 58. So that's 14,000 more a year just by waiting 3 years, okay? That's a huge incentive, okay? All righty. So this is what you want, why you want to maximize things. Now, the other thing is the earliest age you can start tapping into your Social Security is 62. If you tap into it then that's a disincentive. We don't want you to do that, okay? So we'll reduce your income, okay, by again 30% going the opposite direction, okay? So you'll get less. So we can see down here. Here's an example. Let's look at Colleen. All right. So she's 62, okay? Again, her indexed Social Security income based on her 35-year average and how much she made, okay? So she, okay, at age 67, based on that indexing, would be making $2,000 a year Social Security income. Again, that's right around the average in America, okay? If she is just sick of it, okay, says I want to retire at age 62, so 5 years earlier, we see that we're going to knock this down here to 14,000. All right, that sucks. Okay, let's do the calculation right here. I'm going to do my little calculator here. All right, and we're going to look at this right here, and we're going to do, right, so we're going to do 1400 divided by 200. All right, see that? It's 7. So I lost 30% of my monthly income, 30% of my annual Social Security benefit by retiring at this early age. However, okay, we can go over here, okay, and we'll look at her income. Okay, so it is 2480 divided by 2123. All right, so that's a 24% increase right there. Okay, I'm in. All right, all right. So there's the incentive. Okay, the incentive to delay your Social Security. All right, so that's plan one. Plan two, put money away. Okay, so these are the plans that are company-based: 401k, 403b, 457. It just depends what kind of company you're working for. Okay, it's a government agency. Okay, that's a 457. All right, so let's say you work for the city of Laguna Beach. Okay, um, you work for a nonprofit. Yes, USC is not profit in spite of the tuition income that they bring in. Okay, or you can work for a big company like, say, Microsoft, Apple, whatever it is, and then they have a 401k. All right, all righty. So what's the dealio in here? The cool thing about this is, so they're going to take the money out of your paycheck every month. You should do as much as you can. You can budget this. Okay, look the other way. Okay, the cool thing about it is they take 5%. Right now, they take 5% of my 9-month salary out. USC only guarantees a 9-month salary for professors. I take that 5% out, and then that reduces my income by 5%, and then that's when my federal income tax is calculated. Now you can very quickly jump into a higher tax. So let's say my tax bracket is at that 35% of my income goes to paying federal income tax and state income tax. Okay, but if I reduce my income by 5%, I might drop down to say 22%. So right there, okay, it's a win. So I'm paying less taxes in the present. Okay, now that money I put away, okay, it goes into an account, and I'm putting it into an account that is based on the stock market. Again, these index funds, you've heard of the Dow Jones Industrial Index, okay, S&P 500. These are just large indexes with thousands and thousands of companies. Okay, and I get 7%. I've pretty much, I've had years where I got 9%, 7%. You can do this on your own too. So we choose what are called target date funds, target on about where I think I'm going to be retiring. I invest in more secure kind of loans to the government and loans to companies called bonds, or where you buy a percentage of the company, and that's stocks. Okay, and yeah, so you can do really well. Okay, You don't pay any taxes on the gains. So oftentimes your investment will um, have a gain in terms of the value of the stock or the bond. Okay, the stock, the bond's a whole different scenario. It's complicated. I'm not even going to get into that. Um, and then sometimes it'll spin off a dividend. Okay, so the way its stocks are set up, here's the money you earned this year, and then it goes right back in and invests and buys more stock. Okay, um, you don't pay any taxes on that while it's growing for the 30 years you put it in there or 20 years you put in there. You only pay taxes on it when you retire and you pull it out. So the government sits there and watches as I'm pulling money out of my 401k when I retire at age 70, say, and if I pull out 100 grand, okay, then I'm going to pay, okay, taxes on that 100 grand, whatever the tax rate is. This would be income tax, whatever it would be for 100 grand. But well, let's say that the whole time, the last 10 years, maybe I've been making 300-400 grand. You see, then you're paying a much higher tax bracket. So the incentive later on is that you're going to be paying less taxes when you're in retirement. People in general are going to spend less, okay? Maybe my house will be paid off, so I don't have to spend money on that, okay? I'm probably less likely to be traveling all over the world to Tavarua, Fiji, and Mexico surfing. So I'm going to have less expenses. My children have lunched. I don't have expenses on that, okay? So that's the concept, okay? All righty, here's the tax savings, like I was saying. And then always think about the company match, okay? USC was 1-for-1 for a while. Now they're 2-for-1 for the 5% that I put in. That's amazing. I don't pay taxes on that going out, the match. It's just free money, okay? Um, and I only pay taxes on it when I spend it when I retire. All right? All right. So that's the beauty of it. And the government sets these up because they really, really want companies to sponsor it, okay? To make it easier. All right. Then we have the other part right here, and this is where you basically create an account with an investment company, like a Vanguard, Fidelity, Morgan Stanley, whatever it is. Okay. Um, Within these companies, you have a couple different approaches. Okay. One is you can do what's called a Roth IRA. The other was called an IRA. These are just two approaches. Okay. Um, they have limits. Okay, we're going to talk about the limits. Okay, with the Roth IRA, the cool thing, you do this when you're young. Okay, so the idea on this is you get your paycheck. Okay, and let's say I'm only making 30 grand a year. Okay, so I'm in the maybe only 4% tax bracket. So that means 4% of my income goes away to the federal government as my federal income tax, and 4% goes to the state as my state income tax. All right, that's a pretty low tax bracket. Okay, so you pay your taxes, and then on the money, okay, that you're going to be investing in this IRA. Okay, so you pay on taxes on it ahead of time, only 4%, and then you tuck it away into a Fidelity or a Morgan Stanley account, and you'll let it grow. And the cool thing is it'll grow to hundreds and hundreds, maybe millions of dollars. And then when you access it, when you retire, you don't pay any taxes on it. So that's a big difference. That's the incentive to put away money when you're really not making that much money, when you're poor. You're living with your parents, put it away then. That's what you do. This one is the traditional individual retirement account. This one reduces your taxable income. All right, so I would report. I put $6,500. That's the most you can put in for one of these. I reduce my income. Let's say I make $126,500 a year. Then I would report that I only made $120,000, and that $6,500 goes away. Okay, into this account. It grows and grows and grows until you retire. Then when you access it, okay, then you pay taxes on whatever that is when you're accessing it. Okay, all right. So you see the two different strategies. Okay, so the problem with this one right with doing this right here, the Roth IRA, if you're making a bunch of money, let's say I'm making 200 grand a year, all right, now I'm in the 28% tax bracket. It doesn't make as much sense to pay taxes on the front end and then invest it. It makes more sense to reduce your taxable income with an IRA if I'm making 200-300 grand, okay, a year, and then pay taxes later on, 35 years from now when I'm retiring and I'm spending less. All right? Okay. That's what that's all about. Now, there are limits, okay, in terms of how you can put in. The government really wants companies to create these incentives, these 401ks, 403bs that we saw, and then the actual government account that we saw up here, which was the 457 right there. All right. They want you to do it through whoever your employer is, okay? So the way it works, okay, for a 401k, all right, is you have a limit right here of $23,000 a year that you can put in, okay? Until you get to age 50, and then there's a catch-up, okay, where they will let you add $7,500 to that 23 right here, all right? So that would come out to 30,500 that you put in, okay? And then, okay, if you have an employer match, they allow you to put away 69 grand a year total of the employer match. That's a deal, okay? So every year in the maximal situation, you can put close to 70 grand a year, okay? All righty. So they're working the system. Now the difference is down here, we're looking at our IRA limits. Okay, so we have a traditional IRA. I was talking about this is what I would put in if I'm making a lot of money. So I'm in a higher tax bracket. I'm going to reduce my tax bracket that year, put away the money into that IRA, and then when I spend it when I'm 70, then that's when I pay taxes. Or this is the one where you guys are students, right? And you're living with your parents. What the heck? You know, why not pay 2% taxes on this money and then put it into an account that you don't pay taxes on later on in life, okay? So when you're under the age of 50, 2024, this is the maximum amount you can put in annually, all right? Far different than the 401k where it was 23, okay? The catch-up funds, you can add $1,000, okay? So you can put in 8,000 in either category right here, whereas, okay, remember, I could put in almost 31 here, okay? And then this is the employee match, all right? This is a whole different category. It's similar to doing a 401k. It's called SEP IRA. We're not going to get into that, all right? Now, the key concept in all this is why are we doing this, okay? And it's because you can look at the money you make, the principal, all right? Let's say right now, okay, you put 10 grand in and you let it sit there and it didn't do anything. 10 grand now, in 30 years, it's still 10 grand, okay? All righty. But if we look over here, okay, just say you're going to make 5% a year. Again, we've been making closer to 7, okay? Sometimes 8 or 9%. But if you made 5% a year, that same 10 grand, you made, let's say you had $100, okay, you put in $100, and then a year later, it's 105. Then you do 5% interest on that. You see how it grows and grows and grows and grows. And so instead of having 10 grand at the end of the year, you've quadrupled your money. And this is called compounding. This is why you got to do it, my friends. You got to do it. All right. All righty. So when we look at the categories of investments, okay, we have pensions. Okay. Pension is I've worked for the government the whole life. We used to have pensions in big companies, private corporations, but it became a burden because people lived too long, and companies were like, I don't want to have to guarantee you an income stream, you know, for 40 years when you retired at age 60. People live to 100, all right? So they got rid of that, most companies, and now you put in the money, you define how much you're going to contribute, you invest it in the stock market, and then when it's time, you will then use this, okay? Alrighty, so this is called a defined contribution plan, also shown here as a defined benefit plan, okay? We have the traditional pension. If you work for the fire department, you work for the police department, you're a city worker for the city of Laguna Niguel, you work for the power company, all these are government agencies. They still have the pension system, okay, where you're going to get a percentage of your income for the rest of your life after you retire. So you don't put it in, it's just a given that that's what you're going to get, okay? All right, so that's, and how do we pay for these pensions? Okay, we pay for these pensions. Everybody in America pays for it through our federal income tax. So that's, wow, is that fair? But we have to run the government in order for this life to exist. So that's the whole concept behind that. In addition to that, some of the government agencies do have these defined contribution or defined benefit plans. Okay. There's another strategy right here. Okay, this is an annuity. All right, this right here is sold over and over again by financial planners. It's where you give them their money. It's called an insurance policy, and then they will guarantee a return of a much smaller percentage when you access it at a given rate of time. So you have to let it sit with that investment company. They'll turn around and invest it elsewhere, um, making maybe 8, 9, 10% on your investment. You're going to get through their algorithm a much lower amount. Okay, there's a lot of fees. Always look at the fees. The fees are key. Okay, if they're high, there's something screwy about that. If people are pushing this on you and pushing on you, it's because there's money to be made on their end. Okay, so be very, very, very circumspect and careful about annuities. Okay. Alrighty, this is an article right here that talks about the problems with annuities from Forbes magazine. Alrighty, so let's say you want to invest more than $8,000 a year. Okay, you can. Okay, there you just set up with a separate called what's called a brokerage account right here, and the brokerage account is different. Okay, so if you're just putting in money on your own, you're going to get a gain. Okay, and each year that gain that you make, you're going to pay a certain amount of taxes. Okay, so the other stuff is tax protected because it's your IRA, your Roth IRA. Okay, it's also, for me, my company-based 401k. I'm not paying any taxes on that for 30 years until I retire. Okay, however, I can still invest money into the stock market. Okay, this is a brokerage account, but now you're going to pay what's called capital gains every year. However much you've earned because of your really savvy investments, you got to pay taxes on that. All right. All right, so this is capital gains tax right here, and you can see that it grows pretty quickly based on how much you have. So if I have an increase in the value of 500,000, 20% is going to the government. All right, it's all worth it though. So what? So I still have the gain of this. I still, so 100 grand goes to the government, say, around there, over 100 grand, but I'm still 400,000 ahead of the game. So that's a good thing. All right. Fees, fees, fees. Okay. Don't forget about this. Okay. So we can look at the cost of fees. Okay. So these are active funds. This is where somebody is a money manager and they're investing in different types of strategies for you. Okay. Actively managed. Okay. Versus using these mutual funds or large indexes. Okay. And you can see all the different approaches. Okay, these are different categories of investing. Okay, so that's a 1%, 1.3%. It adds up. Okay, here it's 0.2 versus 0.79. Okay, U.S. stocks 0.09. Okay, if I'm doing it on my own versus having a broker manage it. Okay, every step of the way, you can say that if you can do it on your own, you're going to do a lot better. Okay, so we can look over here. Okay. And we can look at, I have a lot of 0% fees, okay? And so this is the amount of money lost to fees, say if I invested this over 30 years, okay? That's awesome, okay? We can see down here, if you have somebody managing your money and they're charging 2%, and this is not unheard of, okay? So even though you invested almost 600 grand here, at the end of the day, okay, the broker is going to get 200 grand and you're going to get 400. Okay, so this is why you always focus in on how much it costs in terms of somebody who's a money manager. And also when you're doing your own, you can select bundles, okay, which are the mutual funds, the indexes that have the lowest amount of fees associated with it. All right, this is a long lecture, guys, but it's super important you understand this. Okay, all right, here's your quiz, and then we're going to go into the dilemma. Okay, the key, hopefully you guys understand financial planning a little bit better now, okay? And we see that we should do something about the enormous gap between retirement needs and actual retirement savings, okay? People are not keeping up at all, okay? Um, what can we do to promote better retirement savings, okay? What do you guys think? Do you think the generation behind us, millennials, got it going on? Are they prepared like boomers? They're sucker punched a lot by housing. They're living a lot more hand to mouth, meaning they take in their paycheck and they spend it, okay? Um, and what's going to happen to the different generations in terms of retiring? And we can scroll down here and get a feel for this, okay? This is the sad part. Now this was, 2016, looking backwards, okay? Times are changing right here, but we look right here, the median per age group, okay? This is 56 to 61 in this particular study, okay? And we see this is right before the big recession, okay? And yeah, we took a hit, but not that big of a hit. And we see the median right here. You should be well on your way between 56 and 61 years of age. Was 37 in 2007, and then in 2016 only 21,000. Imagine being 61 years of age and all you have is $21,000 saved to live on when you're projecting retire at 66. Okay, you're going to maybe make $2,000 a year on Social Security. That's the real problem. As expected, the younger you are, the less you have, okay? Then we can look at the inequity that exists across America right here. And we see that here just based on our ethnicity, okay? We can look at the opportunity to invest, okay? People pay higher rents, lower incomes, can't really afford to invest, okay? So we see that this is this big inequity in our country here. We see, look at it, green, this is the Hispanic population over time. It's been pretty stably a lot less, one half maybe of what white America is doing, okay? We see the same drill here for Black America, about half, okay? In terms of having any type of retirement savings at all, okay? What's another kind of inequity, okay? Well, did you go to college, okay? So we see right here, this is where you completed college degree, or maybe more like maybe like a PhD. And we see that, across the board, about 80% of people in that category, this purple right here, have some type of retirement, okay? Now, again, there's a huge spread too between some type and having a comfortable retirement, all right? Some college experience, so we're getting down here to maybe, a third less. We see here a high school diploma, now you're about half. And we see down here, if you didn't complete high school, your likelihood of having any form of retirement is only about a quarter of the people, all right? All right, this is a really cool website right here that explains more about retirement if you're interested. But get in there and look at this, and because you know what? Here's the reality. Yes, you guys are going to invest. You're going to be doing fine, but there's such a huge segment of America that is not. Okay, and we saw from the previous week when we were looking at the real dilemma, and that had to do with when we were looking at week 10, people are falling off the rails when they're older, okay? And we saw this when we looked at down here, we're looking at all, the likelihood, and then we scroll down here, and when we were in our discussion, we see so many people, so much of their income is going towards necessary expenses like medical expenses. We saw that we're way behind in Social Security working for them. And then remember, we looked at the homelessness in our country in nomad land. So a lot to wrap your head around, guys. All right, peace. All right, go Trojans. Do think about this. This is an important part of the course, okay? Everybody needs to be able to manage their own money. You don't want people embezzling, stealing money from you because you thought you could trust them, okay? You should be able to do this very easily. It's no different than being able to do Instagram. You just need to go in there and play with it. And it's actually fun, okay? All right, guys. Peace. We'll see you next time.